Another rainy day. Yesterday was rainy. Today again, guys, all rainy. Today the veranda is wet. Usually we don't get the rain in the veranda, but today the thing is wet. It's a little windy down there. But I want to say, give thanks to of the rain, for the sun, for everything. They're coming down harder. Raining cats and dogs, guys. Those of you abroad, it's Thanksgiving. In Jamaica, we're having rain, bountiful rain. Every day we have rain, every single day. And that is why so much flooding, guys. So much places are getting flooded out. It's not easy. So you have it, guys. Showers of blessings. Visibility is low. Not a heavy rain. Same thing yesterday. I just gonna finish this video without saying happy Thanksgiving to all of you who are celebrating Thanksgiving today. This morning I got up and I felt so down. I miss my children so much. Even though Jody was here the other day, because we wouldn't, all roads would have led to mommy, and Danny would have gotten up and would have been cooking, frying up fish, escovitch fish, cooking up oxtail and all sort of cooking up, and the kids would come and my grandchildren would come and just run around and just eat and play, and would take them out in the backyard to roll around on their bikes for a little bit, and then we'd go play Ludi. I just so miss them today. I miss them so much. But Sherry took on the cooking. My son and his wife, they took on the cooking, so they told me they're doing food. They'll be ordering in some Jamaican food, so Jody and Judy will go hang out with them. So that's awesome. I'm glad somebody's taking up the baton and carrying it on. But guys, I so miss them. And yeah, people saying, oh, you could do a FaceTime. And trending saying, you could do a FaceTime. I talked to my son like for 2 hours with the grandchildren and Sherry. But it's not the same. It's like I like to be there. And Grace and Argia, they want to sit at my desk with me, and I put them up on the desk. And they would just sit there and ask me all sorts of questions, and they would touch this and touch that, and it's not the same on FaceTime. And so, but I give God thanks for everything. I might not be there, but I'm there in spirit. I'm there in spirit. So happy Thanksgiving for all of you who are celebrating today. And just make sure that the time spent with family is well spent, that you're building fond memories, because they do last and they do worth something. So, happy Thanksgiving. A pleasant good evening, everybody. A pleasant good evening. This is your girl, Miss Bev, with yet another video. My goodness, guys, we have so much rain every day. Rain, I mean, not just sprinkles. I think I remember it as a young child when it came to this time of the year. Depending on where you are, I lived in Springfield in the very rural areas up in the hills. So, it's cool in the mornings and it's a little cooler than than down in some areas. And we had the trees, lots and lots and lots of trees around. And so during this time, we'd get like a misty rain. It wasn't heavy rain falling often. It was just a misty, miserable, prolonged rain. And didn't really like it. Would cover up under the crocus bag. And my uncle would be in the kitchen. He would do the corn. He would parch the corn and beat it and make the brown George, or they call it dust, because him beat the corn, sieve it, beat it, and we would get it with some sugar mix in it. And we would sit in the house, and when it's ready, he would call us, and we have to run out there, and somebody run out in the rain. But we'd cover our heads with a crocus bag to prevent the heavy wetting of the rain on our bodies. I also remember coming from school in the evenings, and we'd get our children's own newspaper. My God, from in the 60s, we had children's own newspaper. Today they have it, but it's not as exciting as it used to be. Now they put stuff in it like classwork for kids, but back then we had pen friends, and they had letters to the editor, or people looking for pen pals, and they would write little things about themselves, and you would select those who you wanted. I remember getting somebody from France. I remember a guy from France. I remember other pen pals even around in Jamaica that we used to correspond. We'd write letters, and so it develops you used to send it through the post office, and Granny would give you that money to put a stamp on it, and you send it off. Those days. But I remember when it rained, school let out, you need to get home. Some of us would just walk in the rain, and some of us would make those hats. Remember paper hats? We'd fold the newspaper and fold it and put it on our heads to ward off some of the rain, which didn't last long, because when the rain comes down, you get down the street and the paper is wet. Okay, we couldn't afford raincoats and umbrellas. Oh boy, couldn't afford them. But now you see, like, a lot of rain. This rain is heavier though. It's not misty, miserable rain. It's heavy rain. But we have it, and the sad thing is that, as I said, with the building and the building of the concrete jungles, then what happens is that the earth is softened, and so a lot of flooding and landslides are taking place. So far in our area, nothing, but in most areas you hear of the soil is too saturated, is way too saturated. So you have the mudslides and the problems going on, the floodings, a lot of flooding going on. So yesterday we had rain. I went live and to include you guys in what I was hearing and seeing. Today we also had rain, and you will see a little snippet of the rain. Depending on the direction the rain comes and the veranda gets wet. Usually if the rain goes a certain way, the veranda doesn't get wet at all. But yesterday and today it really got a dousing. The entire veranda is wet. But I still give thanks because we're still under a dry space, and, just giving thanks for all things. But as I give thanks, I also have to think of a question one of you posed in your contribution to the conversations that are going on. And this question, my friend asked, is, how will mass deportation affect elderly care and nanny services in America? How will mass deportation affect elderly care and nanny services in America? Now, let me tell you my story. When I went to America, I went with a green card. But when I went, I had an accent, and so I had some schooling out here, but nothing completed. And at that time, they were not accepting foreign education. They wanted education to be done. They want the paper to be theirs in America. Nowadays, they'll accept a high school diploma and stuff like that. But back then, no. Your education must be done. And they had the GED that was accepted for high school diploma. So when I went, I applied. I had a switchboard certificate and NCR, National Cash Register, something. And I went and I applied for work as a switchboard operator. At that time, I liked it because you went to the Department of Labor and they would do the interview. They interviewed you, and then they would look in the computer and they find jobs that you were qualified for. And together with you, they would look and they say, okay, we're going to send you to this one, or we're going to send you to this one. And they give you the letters to go to tell them that they interviewed you and you were qualified for this thing. And so they would hire you from that. They sent me to a space, and when I went, lady spoke to me, and the first thing she said, oh, you have an accent, and I didn't want you, I couldn't hire you because I wouldn't want a message come in for one of the workers and they wouldn't be able to understand you. Talking about 83. And so that job fell through. Went to another one, had some opportunities, and some of them worked out. Like they sent us to the seasonal work in this big stores. Hated it, hated it, and so I knew I had to go to school. But before I went to school, I also got into the home care segment, because I didn't, I couldn't do big corporations because of my accent. So one of my cousins, she was with this place, she knew of this place, and she said, go up there, Bronx Jewish, I think it was, go there and apply. When I applied, when I went, they accepted me, because they were just accepting you. You didn't have to have any certificate, you didn't have to have anything back then. They were just now taking, instead of just throwing people in nursing homes, they were allowing people to go into the home to care for this elderly and the sick. At the time, your training was basically how to, there were a lot of crippled people who were from the waist down, some from the neck down, and you have to get them out of bed in a wheelchair by yourself. You have to bathe them in bed, turn them when you have to change pampers for pooping, for wet, if they wet themselves, you can't leave them in it. You got to get them out of it, and you're by yourself. So you had to learn how to pivot and bring them to the chair, the dead weight, and you have to learn how to turn them in the bed, wash them, bathe them in bed, clean them up in bed, change bed linen with them in the bed. It was a whole piece. And you're by yourself, there's no one to help you, it's just you and them. The only thing they can do, their hands are useful, and they might hold the rail to pull. When you push them, they might hold on, and you're able to do what you have to do on one side, and then you roll the sheet in, and then you push them to the other side, and you do what you do. And it was good, because you could work the long hours, and you could make at the time I was making $3.35 an hour. And what I know, the reason I'm bringing that up is that what I know of those situations back then, when we had just started out with little or no, people didn't capitalize on it yet, so now they want certificate, they want this, they want that. The agencies were very few. They were just the city agencies. So when you work, you were accumulating vacation time, and you got a lot of good benefits. Because I remember when I had my twins and didn't work for a few months and for a while, and then one day I was at the house and I got an envelope from the company. They always send you timesheets in it. And when I asked, why they're sending me timesheets, I haven't worked for how many months already. And when I opened that bad boy, there was a nice fat check. I think it was like 1,500 and something. I was beside myself. But this was accumulated vacation time and what have you, and they sent me that check. But the reason I'm going back to this experience, my people, is that I'm getting to the question that we're focusing on. How will mass deportation affect elderly care and nanny services? Um, while doing this work, especially patients who had Alzheimer's, it was very well noted that the children didn't give a, most of the kids didn't give a rat's behind about these old people. Some of them, they would come in on a Saturday, they peek in, and 2 minutes and they're gone. I remember one person in particular, she had sent her grandson through doctor school. She would school him right until he became a doctor. Never showed up one time to visit her, never called. They were too busy. And all she wanted was, oh, I wish I could see him. Oh, I wish I could see him. And it was hard because as a home care provider, you get to see many different clients. Because sometimes I wanted to work night shift, so somebody's in the house in the day with my twin daughters, and you could do your 12 hours overnight. That time you could catch a little sleep. You didn't have to be up all night. You could catch some sleep and it wasn't bad. Until people start getting into it and start making all sorts of rules and make it so hard and, just cutting up hours. You could work a whole week, make your whole 7 days, 12 hours, and you get a decent check to go home with. And then when the companies come, they cut up 2 days for you. Nobody could work 7 days and 12 hours. You'll be working 2, 4, and 3, or whatever they would put it. You used to work, sleep in, and you get good pay for sleeping work until everybody starts to saturate the place with all these little agencies who everybody trying to get their bit, and they start making all kind of changes and problems, and the work just wasn't right anymore. But I know from experience that these children didn't want to be bothered. I remembered one patient when something happened and the daughter came and we're talking about, I said, when she comes out the hospital, you could maybe bring her. She could put a bed in their living room area and put her. She says, not going to happen. It's not going to happen, And you look at these things. She says, I don't want when my guests come in, my place is smell like urine. No, not going to happen. So not a lot of them just don't want to be bothered with the old people anymore. A lot of the old people gifted them all their savings and what have you, just so they could get on Medicaid. Medicaid is not going to give services if you have money in the bank, your own property. So they just gift it to the kids and they take it and they ride off in the sunset and just leave them there for us to go in and take care of them. We were the only people there now. We are the ones going and cooking for them, talking with them. Sometimes they are so prejudiced and so mean-spirited, but you're the only one they have. And they become worse when the kids don't care, because they want to talk to the kids and the kids are busy, or they will call back and, why are you calling? I just spoke to, it was just so bad. So if at that time we were able to go in, and again, the salary wasn't big, but we were getting long hours, so we went in and we did it. And sometimes the cases were easy because it was just companionship. Patient can do some things for themselves and you're just there to make sure they don't fall or to make sure that they're not walking out into the streets. But what we know is that a lot of people who goes there, who are undocumented, they're the ones now who would go in, because now care has become expensive. But the undocumented are the ones they could pay less than $10 an hour, $7 an hour, give them $250 a week to live in for 5 days or 4 days or what have you. They could pay them the little bit and they're happy for it because they need to send something home, right? Nanny care. I see my son, thank God they both of them became project managers and were able to work from home. Because when my grandson started, I wanted him to to be able to build his social skills. So we all kind of just like, but Sharia went out and they found a space for him where he could go in a daycare setting. And 1,800 every month. I was even looking for my license to become a daycare provider because the money is good. So when you sit there and you look at 2 or 3 kids for care, many people, especially in the New York City area, those areas, they opted for, they call them nannies. That means they're opting out for the undocumented people to come in, and they could pay them way less to do their housekeeping and to do their child care for cheap. Because to bring them out there to a licensed space, it would have cost them an arm and a leg. So this person asked a question, and my response to the person was, well, the only thing that they can, because a lot of people jump and cheer, they jump and cheer and think like, this person is coming here, we're getting rid of this, we're getting rid of them, yeah, enough of them in here, what have you. But people not looking at the repercussion, because a lot of us, we're just looking this way, we're not looking anywhere else. We just say, yes, we want them out. Some of you are glad. They're talking about, they're burdening the taxpayers. But we're not looking at how many of them are paying taxes and get nothing in return for it. Get nothing. Because they can't claim taxes during tax season. Right? You have to have social security number, legal social security numbers to claim taxes. And so, again, the undocumented are always the ones losing. But with the mass deportation, let us understand that those who depend on them to take care of their families, those who depend on them to take care of their children because of the low wages, they're going to hurt as well. So let's not gloat. Let's not get carried away and get excited and become so, let us pray for one and all, because it's always a chain reaction. It's always a domino effect. All right, we try to hurt one here, but we hurt 10 over here. So let us remember, as I said in one video, our cows never know the use of them tail till flies start picking at them butt. Then him realize how important the tail was to swish, swish, swish and get rid of the flies off him behind. So that's how it goes, guys. In the next video, there's a little clipping that somebody shared with me this morning, and it spoke to me, and I said, let me add it to this video, and hopefully it speaks to you. It's not my work, guys, so please do not, it's not my work. I know that if they hit it with the copyright, then the only thing is I cannot monetize the video, but I'm sure they won't see it as me taking people's work. It's not my work. I'm giving you the disclaimer. It's not mine. It was shared with me this morning. I read it, and it uplifted me, and I thought it will uplift someone as well. So guys, make it a great day by choice. Just take care of yourselves. And listen, let's not let's never gloat over people's downfalls. Don't do that. Let us pray. Let us, if you can lift them up, but don't look down on anybody. Don't look down on them. Lift them up. Only looking down is if you're reaching out a hand to pull them up. All right? So let's remember that. Lift up people. Don't push them down, because one never know. One never know. I've seen people in Jamaica who had, you'd never think life would have been good to them, because one lady, she lived in a one room. She had 5 children. She had a boyfriend, because she had a young baby after the other, after she had 4 others for different people. But that woman in that one room got an opportunity to get to America. She got to America and she took up all them little picnic when it was dirty and beer behind, and oh my God. She took them and they got a better chance. So the man who not dead, no call him duppy. Wait till him dead for call him duppy. And when you're digging holes, don't dig 1, dig 2, sometimes dig 3. because you never know. So let us pray for people. Let us hope for the best for them. Let us just hope for the best for them. And let's see where it goes. It might never happen, but when somebody said they're going to do something, you have to take them at their word until they prove differently. And so it might never get to some people, but we know that it's a 90% chance that it might happen. So be good to yourself, my people. Much love and respect to all of you. Again, a lot of rain here. I'll just share a video clip with you, and so you can see the rain as it comes. Stay blessed.